Hello out there, everybody. I thought I would do a quick review on what I've done over the last few years. Turn on some light, get more light going. I think I'll turn that one up there on too, if I remember how. That one over there. I turn this one off because it gets loud. Okay, so what we did, you remember clear back at the beginning, let's just say that this has really evolved. Since the beginning, pardon the mess, I was using these solar chargers, and they worked. They're 30 amp, 12 to 24 volt, 12 to 34 volt little inverter or charge controller, and they did work. They worked pretty well. They worked for a long time. I had 8 of them up here on this board with the panels that I have now currently wired in 12 volt. And over here I had a 12 volt inverter. I think it was a 3000 watt, something like that. And that ran the whole house no problem. But there is a problem. 12 volt, these batteries, I had 8 of them at the time, were wired for 12 volt. That means every one of these was 2 in parallel. These are 6 volt Trojans. They are the L16E, and they're 37 amp hour for 20 amp hours, or 370 amp hour for 20 hours, or 305 for 5 hours. What all that means, who knows. But anyhow, there's a lot of amperage here, let's just put it that way. And I had them all wired up at 12 volts, so 12, 12, 12, and 12 in parallel, and that was running the house. The problem with that is, the only problem with that is that uses a huge amount of current to convert that 12 volts to 110. So after a period of time, we decided to put these up as a 12 volt system. And it was just kind of, I had a different, I still have them, they're out in the shed. I had these up there running a 12 volt. I took all those other ones out and bought some EPeverr 12 volt charge controllers. Now, figure out the cost on that. The 12 volts at the time were like $95 each. These little inverters, move my clothes, I got them all hanging up here. These little inverters were 30 bucks a piece. I had 8 of them up there. A lot of money. So, I've been wasting a lot of money. So, after a while, we figured out, well, as a matter of fact, we actually ran out of power. I had several cloudy days in a row, and we ran out of power. The inverter quit working, and had to hook up the generator outside to charge the batteries, and it was inconvenient, to say the least. So we decided to go 48 volt. And so we wired all these up for 48 volt and bought 2 of these and wired them parallel in 48 volt. No, we didn't either. We bought 1 of these and wired all those up for 48 volt. We didn't have any problem with that. It worked pretty good. So we replaced our inverter with a 48 volt, I think it was a 6,000 watt inverter. It may have only been a 4,000. But I'll post the links to all this on the description at the end of the video, so you see what we went through all this time. But then we decided, after we found out that it still wasn't enough, we went with a second battery bank and rewired everything up there to a 48 volt. All of the solar panels up there, we've got them wired in threes here in series. So 3 in series, 3 in series, in parallel, coming down to 2 banks of 300 watts each. Those are 300 watt panels. And over here, we've got them wired in pairs. So 2, 4, 6, 8 in series, 2 panels in series, and that comes down in parallel, and we have 235 watt panels up there. These are still the 12 volt system. We kept the 12 volt system because of all this, which was a mistake. I wouldn't do it like that at all. What I should have done, I'll get into that in a bit. But anyhow, we ended up adding a second bank of batteries, and we kept the 12 volt system right here. These are 12 volt. So we still have 12 volts charging all the time there, and it works. Then we decided, well, let's get us a wind generator. So we bought a 12 volt wind generator with a little 400 watts, and we had, I believe it was this inverter on there, a little charge controller, and to put it plainly, it sucked. It would not charge the batteries using that. It would never charge using that. So a friend of mine gave me this one, which is a ROHS, and I found out this is a pretty darn expensive little charge controller. It's about $240. And we hooked it up. The load here, if it comes with the load, you don't need it. You do not need it. Believe me, that'll discharge your batteries if you're not careful. But this one works. You can't see anything on there. You still can't hardly see it. But that one works. These are fuses for the wind generator. And that works. So the next thing we did was we replaced the 2400 volt, or what was it, the old 48 inverter, 48 volt, with this Treeline Systems 10,000 watt inverter. And this one has been very reliable. Haven't really had any issues with it at all. This is a grid tie inverter, full sine wave, grid tie inverter, and it was a pretty penny. I think it was like $2,000 for that. But it's been very reliable. Had it in there for maybe 3-4 years now, and it's working just great. It has different functions, all kinds of functions. There's dip switches down here. It's a 220 volt inverter, and it's not wired for 220. I don't have 220 in the house yet, but I'm going to. So that was the next thing we did. So finally, we decided to get, I think it's a 4,000 watt windmill, and that one I will list in the instructions, or the, what do you call it? The description. I'll list that in the description too. Got it off Facebook. All of this stuff except that inverter has been bought off Facebook. By the way, this weighs 180 pounds. That's very heavy. And there's my trolley system up there that I made to lift it up. But this is a Missouri wind solar. You don't need this. You need this, but you don't need this. This costs me extra money, and you can get this without this. So for the wind generator and the system that we're using, you don't need the dump. You do not need the dump. If I hook that up, these get really hot. That's what this license plate here is for, to deflect the heat. And it just drains your batteries. Keeps them below a certain point. That's not what you want. I've actually got it disconnected. I cut the wire here off. I need to just take this, disconnect it completely. But everything here, it's working really smoothly. Now let's get into this wiring, this mess. I made a serious mistake when I put that together. Serious mistake for sure. I shouldn't have done it like this. Every one of these wires goes to an outlet somewhere in the house, or a light. It's either lights or outlets. There's no in between. Some of these small ones, they power these meters up here. What I should have done was run an 8-gauge wire from here to like the kitchen, and one 8-gauge wire to the living room, one 8-gauge wire to the bedroom, and one 8-gauge wire to the bathroom. So there's 4 8-gauge wires. I could have done away with all of this with a positive and a ground 8-gauge wire to the room. Then in the room, I could have installed a little trap door with this, with the fuse box, and run from the fuse box to the light. That would have been a lot more efficient. It would have been a lot easier, and I didn't do it. But that's, forethought, past thought, whatever. That's what I should have done. But that's what I wanted to get into today. I just want a brief overview. I also have up here the eBox Wi-Fi, and if I can get it up here somewhere, the eBox BLE-1. This is Bluetooth, and this is Wi-Fi, and these go to these 2 charge controllers. And what you can do is, with your computer, you have to download the software. It's not the greatest software in the world. You download the software into your computer, and you can control these with your computer. You can set them up to whatever you want. They'll even charge lithium if you have the software. So you need that for this. This piece here, the PT80P port adapter, this synchronizes these 2 to where they're charging the same, and just the voltage and everything stays the same between the 2. The PV on this one is 47. It's okay, it's barely charging on that one right now. That's the solar panels that does that. This is 98 volts and 14.4 amps coming out of this one. For a total over here, I see a spider web. We're getting 30 or 22 amps charge right now. But that's the basics of it. These are kind of a pain in the ass. They are hard to use. You have to, it's trial and error getting them to use. They just plug into here with the adapter. I believe they come with a cable. It plugs into this. I don't have these hooked up for these 2 because they're going through this. Everything in here is fused. I need to straighten up some wiring. I made a mess in here recently, did some changes, so I need to straighten up the wire. But everything in here is fused. You really have to fuse them. What else? I'm going to put these back up there. So I keep the instructions. And the cables for the BLE and the Wi-Fi up there. It's a good place for them. I don't lose them. But everything is fused here. There's another fuse. Solar panels come over here, wired in, and over here where they're wired in. Now outside, I'm not going to go outside because it's windy and it's cold. Outside, I'm adding solar panels, which I've already started a video for that. I got some more street corner panels, a bunch more. We put 5 of them on the on one of the containers. The 3 of them have not been installed yet because it's windy and it's cold. 2 of them I hooked up for the 12-volt system. They're going into this one, and they're going into this charge controller. So right now, those 2 are only charging at 0.2 amps and 14 volts, maybe 1.2. Yeah, I think that's right. The other 2 are charging at 0.3 amps. So those batteries are fully charged. 1.7 amps. And 1.1 amps is what they're charging at. So they're just over what the house is using, 1.5 amps. So those batteries are fully charged, the 12 volt. It's still early morning and they're already fully charged. So that's a good thing. What the plan was, and still is to have enough battery and solar to run the house. The batteries run the house at night, and the solar runs the house during the day. So when the batteries are charged, what I'll see is, so this is the charge. Right now they're still charging at 21 amps, and the house is using, it looks like 5.87 amps total. That's with all these lights on. I have 3 refrigerators going in here. We're going to add a mini split also. So the 3 additional batteries I'm going to put in will be, 3 additional panels on the, what is that thing, on the storage shed out there on the container are going to be plugged into this one, and that will max out this controller. So this controller is considerably less wattage than this one. The panels I'm putting in are 300 watt each, so they're the same as these. That will max out this one. I'm putting in 6 additional panels for this one at 300 watts each, and that will max out this one. So they'll have the maximum number of panels that I can put in. But that's not all. I can add more panels, and I'll have to look up to see what the wattage is on this one. But I can add panels to this one because this is a charge controller also. So I can add all kinds of power to this. And what the goal is to be able to run the house on the solar panels even on a cloudy day. Right now I'm iffy on that. On a cloudy day, the batteries do more work than the panels if it's really cloudy, thick clouds. So I have 6 more panels. I'm going to put them out back. But right now I'm putting a total of 5 on the container roof, and it's going quite well, other than it's windy and cold outside. So I just thought I wanted to do a quick review on just all of this. But this is an ROHS. The controllers that they come with are cheap, they're garbage, but I think my friend probably bought this separately from his windmill, because I don't think this one come with the windmill. I think his that he bought was a 400 watt also. I did find that I don't know how to use this. I need to find the instructions for it, because I was pressing buttons one day and I put the antenna in park accidentally. And it actually could be in park right now because I'm not hearing the windmill blow. Did I say antenna? Probably. These little doodads here are the shunts. This one, this one, this one, and this one for these meters. And I must have one somewhere else for this one. This is the 48 volt windmill, the big one. And this is the small windmill. Neither one of them is doing anything right now. And I don't hear either one of them. I can't hear the 48 volt, it's way out in the field. But this one I can hear because it's attached to the house. Maybe I should go out there and look real quick. Maybe the wind is down. Yeah, it's barely turning. Okay. That's good. Maybe I'll get up there on the roof after all. Are you staying there, Sheldon? Okay. You want to come in? Okay. He speaks better English than I do. But anyhow, that's what I wanted to do today. Just a quick review on what I've done. This nice switch here shuts off everything. Got the big giant fuses. They're a big one there. Fuse, fuse, fuse. There's more of them around. This is all fused. But yeah, I really made a mistake when I did this. I should have run 8-gauge wire to each of the rooms and then branched off of that with 10. But I didn't. Up over there, don't mind my mess, I have all my ham radio stuff. That's on 24/7, and I also have Starlink up there. I've got extra ham radios around that I'm trying to put in all of our vehicles. Starlink is great. I did have a problem with it recently. It turned out to be the cable wouldn't stay in the antenna. It just wouldn't stay in. And it kept falling out. I built a loop to where it would push it up in, and that helped for a while. But Starlink was really good about it, and they sent me a whole new system. So that's my Starlink up there. Great system. And then I have ham radios all over. This is a Yaesu 2980, which is an 80-watt output radio, and that's on APRS. Up there is a cheapo iGate, which sends data from APRS to the internet, but it's not hooked on because I don't need it. And then it all runs on a Cantronics packet communicator up there. I have a tiny track up there from Bionics, and then I have a David, what is that? I don't remember the name of it. Altimeter 800 and an ICOM 028 AT up there. That's a 2 AT, that's older than the 02. But that's the ham radio stuff that I use for that. What is that? It's not Davis. Can't think of the name of it. Pardon my mess. I have another ham radio there that's going in the red car, the other 4Runner. Just haven't done it yet because it's cold and windy outside. And that's about it. These are the MT50. You can see what your, whoops. You can see what your solar panels are doing. So this one is putting out 1.4 amps, and this one is putting out 1.5 amps. So this one is the solar panels on the east and west ends of the house, and this is the two brand new ones that I put up that are facing south. So that's really being helpful. That's being helpful a lot. So this here is a controller for the exhaust fan, which is up there. If I turn that on, this will turn off and on at a certain time of the night. You can hear it running up there. What else? I think that's about it. The Trojan L16Es, if you look on Amazon, are $1 million a piece. But you can go to Continental Battery, which they may have changed their name. Try Continental Battery, and they're about $350 a piece without the core charge. I have two of them down there. One of them's bad, one of them's not. And this is a disconnect. Uh-oh. Why did that disconnect the whole thing? I must have something going on here. Okay, I need to fix something, obviously. So, let's fix something. I'll be back. Bye. Okay, I fixed that issue. I'm going to turn this one off because it's loud. This battery cable was over the top here, and it had for whatever reason, it had rotted completely out. So I made a new cable. This is positive to positive. I had to use my jumper cable, so I ran it from here, which is positive, to this battery over here so that I didn't have to disconnect the solar panels. Always disconnect your solar panels. Disconnect the fuse at least before you disconnect the batteries. From what I understand, it's not very good for the solar panels or for the solar chargers. But that got that fixed. I can clean up my mess now. This is an on-off switch, so I can reserve these batteries if I want to. Right now we're charging at 13 amps. If I turn that off, it drops. This is what the house is using, if you can see it. The house is using 5.89 amps. The voltage that, with the inverter turned off, we're charging at very high voltage, 61 volts. This one over here says 59 volts, so I don't know which one's right. It's hard saying. So that one, the panels are at 58 volt, or 98 amps or volts, and 11.7 amps. The battery, it says, is 60.3 and 18 amps going to the batteries. This one, it says, let's cycle it on around. Whoops, went by it. Said it's 70 volts and 1 amp, 0.1 amps, and 60.6 volts at 0 amps. So it says this one's not charging right now. That's just the way of nature of the beast on these things. That's up to 70 volts, 0.1 amp, 60.6, and 0 amps. I have to watch that one, see what it's doing. The wind generator, the wind stopped. The wind has gone away, so I am going to probably get up on the roof. And it's got warm out too. This is the piece that rotted. Ew, yucky poo, but it had rotted completely through. I'll throw that away shortly. Don't want Sheldon to eat it. But I need to clean up my mess now. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I do appreciate sharing if you want to share it. Nothing wrong with sharing. Get more subscribers. They need over 1,000 to monetize the channel, and I've only got 500 or something. I'm also adding links to my videos now. If you click on that link and buy anything, then I make a couple dollars off of that. So far I've made $6.44. I'm happy. And that's in 3 weeks of progress. Still having trouble talking with these teeth because I'm just not used to having teeth. So, back to work. Y'all have fun out there. Okay, yesterday I was I'm continuing the mess. Okay. Yesterday I found the cable going from here to here that joins the 2 banks of 48-volt batteries was rotted out right here. I discovered there's a pinhole in the battery right there where this blob of goop is. I always wondered what that blob of goop was, but there's a pinhole right there. And the wire was laying right on that pinhole. And that's what broke this battery. That's what ruined this battery cable. I was going to scrape that blob off. It looks, I don't know what it is, but I think somebody tried to seal it up. But yeah, there's a pinhole in it right there. And that's what caused this battery cable to go bad. I might mention that to Continental Batteries when I go back up there. I think Continental Batteries might have changed their name. But if you look up Continental Batteries in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they'll probably list what the new name is. And anyhow, that's what I got for these batteries. Now, we've talked a lot about getting lithium. And there's 370 amp hours on each one of these batteries. Every one of them is 370 amp hours. One 12-volt, well, I'm not finding anything. One 12-volt lithium battery is 100 to 200, somewhere in there. 48-volt power bank is listed as 260 amp hours. So how? I've got to do a lot more research on that, but there's no way that's going to work. Not and replace all these batteries. So you figure $1,900 is what I'm finding the 48-volt banks for. $1,300 to $1,900. That is just going to be twice, 3 times. You know, I'm going to have 4 or 5 of those banks to get anywhere near what I've got here, and I'm not even so sure that that's going to be enough. I'm not even almost kind of sure. But that's what I'm running into as far as price. So I just want to add that in here before I finish this video up and get it published. But yeah, there's a pinhole there, and that's what ruined the battery. I did put this post upright so that it won't be against that pinhole. Don't know what to do about that. But I need to clean the battery tops off. That will be my next project. I'm working right now on getting the additional solar panels mounted, and there will be another video on that probably today. So I'll be back. Bye.